Game. Love.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Summers, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready. Play.
Hello and welcome to this Talking Tennis live watch along for the ATP Finals, a group stage match between Jannik Sinner and Ben Shelton. I'm Eddie, your host today. I think John will be joining us a bit later, but it's been a while since I've been on stream with you guys, so it's good to be back. We're now above 20,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I like to think that I had a fairly large part to play in that, or maybe more than I really did. But this match is, well, it's an interesting one in the sense that, Sinner's actually already qualified, and Ben, I don't think he can actually progress now, having lost his two matches. So in a way, it's not much to play for, but Jannik, of course, will be wanting to win, and doing so. Although he's already right through to the semi-finals, he could always get more prize money, and obviously he'll want to head in as fresh as possible into that semi-final. So he'd be hoping to get this done probably as quickly as possible. But Shelton, I mean, he's a player obviously that can be dangerous even to a player like Sinner, given, we know that Sinner has actually been in tremendous form, but Shelton does have one victory over Jannik way back in 2023 in Shanghai. Jannik has won every match since then, And I don't think actually Ben has even won a set since then. But yeah, I mean, with Ben, he's going to be up against maybe the best returner in the game and a player that absolutely loves playing indoors on the hard courts. And I think for Ben, if he's going to get a result here, he's probably going to have to serve lights out and just hope to keep it close. And then maybe he's going to sneak the first set and then see what happens. But yeah, actually in the first match that they played, Ben won. It was actually Ben who came back from a set down. It was 2-6, 6-3, and 7-6. Yeah, 7-5 in that tie break. So yeah, it'd be, if you can get something like that today, I'd be delighted, I'd imagine. But even though it's not much to play for him, but yeah, it's they're just about to start playing now. I think it's Ben that's actually there to serve. And good morning, Jake. I've just seen your comment there. And that was a good serve to start off from Ben. And obviously he'd like to keep that going for as long as possible. Yeah, we started a bit late, of course, because the pre-match ceremony there was for Carlos Alcaraz, who was confirmed as the year-end #1. So he had a bit of a ceremony getting presented with that big trophy and, his long speech. I mean, if you're a tennis player, as much as your tennis ability in this day and age, you've got to be really good at doing interviews and making speeches, especially these champions. Carlos has had to make so many of them. And he wasn't even playing a match today, but then he had to make a speech to receive that year-end #1 award. But it's 15-all here. But that was a great serve by the lefty, out wide by Ben Shelton. Yeah, and the issue for Shelton, of course, is as much as his serve is a weapon, and he has that power on it, it needs to be placed a bit more. It's not all about power. It needs to be placed a bit better and with a bit more consistency if he wants to trouble some of these big guys. The problem is all these guys at the very top, Sinner, Alcaraz, etc. They tend to be all pretty good returners these days. And it's something that, Ben's maybe lacking a bit of. But Ben serving now, second serve at 30-all. Where's he going to go? It wasn't the best second serve, but he'll get away with it, I think. Oh, no, he won't. That was good defense there from Jannik Sinner, and he's already got a break point, 30-40. I saw Ben Shelton play about last month at the Shanghai Masters. And he actually lost to David Goffin. And he was well beaten that day. Couldn't handle the conditions. And I didn't think it helped also that it was much slower, actually, the conditions in Shanghai. And, well, it's not a great start because that's Jannik Sinner who's just got the break there as that backhand from Ben Shelton goes into the net. And that is Jannik Sinner already up 1-love. And, yeah, it could be a quick one today, couldn't it? I mean, Jannik just seems so so comfortable in these conditions, but also being at home. I mean, this is, Turin or Torino. And, yeah, he's got a big support there. And, it's really, he's from North Italy. So he's very much at home in this environment. And he's even got, see the sponsor there, Lavazza Coffee, who I think sponsor Jannik as well. As I think they offer a coffee or some sort of drink named after him, because I saw that at the Shanghai Masters. because they had Lavazza being served there as well. So Jannik Sinner to serve. He goes out wide, and it was returned, but he's able to finish off with the forehand. Yeah, 15 love. And yeah, it's going to be, I mean, if Shelton was going to have any chance in this, I mean, he probably wouldn't have wanted to get broken in the first game of the match. And yeah, as I said, he's going to have any chance. It's really just going to be having to take care of his own service games and then see what happens. But then it's never easy when you've just got someone so locked in like Jannik is. Guy doesn't switch off, especially on return. I would say he is probably the best returner in the game, and is only really, I mean, the only person that can maybe take that title is Carlos as well. So, and you have to say, Jannik's got to be pretty pleased with having to play. You know, obviously Ben is a player that he's beaten a number of times already, but 7-1 the record so far. But also he'll go through to play Alex de Minaur, who, to be fair, got a bit closer the last time they played, but yeah, the head-to-head between those two has been quite decisive. I think is it 10-0 in favor of Jannik. So yeah, I mean, it really does seem pretty inevitable that it's going to be Alcaraz that Sinner will meet in the final. Well, that was actually well done there from Ben Shelton, the return there. Aggressive stepping forward into it. And we don't always see it that much these days in the modern game. You get players standing so far back, even on the second serve. It's actually nice to see when you get players stepping in a bit and attacking it. It was a good return there again from Shelton, but it's the question, can he hold it in the longer rally when we get into the extended rally? And that's where he was struggling a lot when there was talked about that match against David Goffin in Shanghai. You know, Goffin is a player that can hold his own in the rallies, and he was pushing Ben, and that was Jannik Sinner who came in asking the question of Ben Shelton, and his backhand, it goes wide, and you know, Ben probably would think he would be doing better, you know, in his passing shot attempt there. Good play from Sinner, but you know, the approach wasn't tremendous. So 40-30 to Jannik Sinner now. And that's a great serve out wide. And it's 2 games to love. Yeah, and it's just sometimes there's a sort of a sense of inevitability about the way Jannik is playing at the moment. Second serve here from Shelton. But of course, Jannik all over it, and we're into an extended rally again. But eventually, there was an error there from Jannik. Yeah, and Shelton's obviously going to want to avoid getting into too many extended rallies. That was a good first serve there. a lot of pace on it, and he's going to need a lot of them. But as I say, like obviously, I mean that's a tremendous serve there, and Jannik just wasn't able to adjust his positioning to return. That was so fast anyway. But it's not always coming in as the best placed serve. I mean, that's the thing is when you're up against that's a double fault there from Shelton. But when you're up against Sinner, who is just a ridiculous returner, he's going to get the ball back more often than not, and with interest. He's not going to hit a winner off. He's going to get it deep and in an uncomfortable position for you that's not going to give you an advantage in the rally. So, yes, it's something that probably that he can improve anyway. I think Shelton, and he already has, but it's just maybe he's going to need to also improve his return game a little bit more. But that's obviously easier said than done. But 40-30 now on Ben Shelton's serve. So let's see if Shelton can get his first game. It's going to be a second serve, though, as that serve goes into the net. And yeah, there's the backhand error there. Ball going long from Sinner. So Shelton does get his first game. Yeah, and it's a big question now because obviously Ben's still pretty young and he's up, he's doing so well in terms of, he's progressed well up the rankings now, right? So now sitting at 5 in the world, which is obviously tremendous. But it's now a question of can he push on and become a regular at the top there? I mean, obviously above him you've got Sinner, but then you've also got a guy with the consistency of Alex Zverev, and then of course Djokovic. He's got some way to go before reaching the sort of consistency of those guys. So is he going to be able to take that next step with his game? And if you are watching on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, and of course this game might not be playing for much on paper, but you still got a massive crowd there, full stadium there to see them two play, and of course they're all going to want to win, no question. I've always wanted to go to an ATP Finals, but I've never been able to make it, or a WTA Finals. Obviously, I'm living here in Seoul. It doesn't make it easy because they have been ATP Finals. Well, that was a little bit of a error there from Jannik Sinner there with the backhand into the net. And I just wonder, I don't really expect it to happen, but Jannik is possible that he might take his foot off the gas a little bit because he's already through. And that might give Ben an opportunity to get into the match, but he does return the serve there. So we're in an extended rally there, backhand to forehand. Slice there from Ben. And that's a drop shot now from Sinner. Ben does get there, but it's easy to finish off by the Italian at 15-0. Yes. So Sinner to serve. Currently here it is coming up to 10:45 in the evening. I believe it's 2:45 p.m. there in Torino. Second serve, but that was... Oh my goodness. I mean, I really liked Shelton's play there to be super aggressive on the return and net rushing there. And against, so many players, he probably would have come out in the point there. But Jannik, I mean, his anticipation, his defense is just so good. And eventually he does come out on top, and you have to say tremendous from the world number 2, or he will be the world number 2. He's actually the current... Oh no, he is current world number 2, right? Yeah. So 30-0. And well, there's another error there from Sinner. So 30-0 here. Second serve. Be interesting to see what Ben does this time on return. He does step in aggressively again. Net rushing. Is he going to be able to win the point? Oh, and he does eventually come off on top there, Ben, with that forehand cross court at the angle, just doing enough to draw the error from Sinner. And again, I like that play, just the aggression from Ben. It's smart, and even if he didn't come out on top in some of the previous points, it probably made Sinner a bit wary, and he did come out on top this time. So that's good, and he's got a break point here. Can he break back? We'll see. Sinner will be hoping for a first serve, I think. Oh no, and it's an error into the net. Fault. And second serve again. Let's see what Shelton does this time. He does step in. Oh, and it's... We've got the rally here, but it's eventually the error on the backhand side. The ball looping long from Ben Shelton. Yeah, and it's good play, but I mean, the problem is now Jannik will be starting to expect it. So yeah, it's juice anyway. So still a little chance here, perhaps, for Ben. Oh. Yeah, that was a good serve there from Sinner. So advantage he has, and he will have game point. Wow. Yeah, Ben going up the line there and drawing the error from up the line from Sinner, who sends his ball long, and it's back to Juice. So the pressure continues a little bit for Sinner, and he was a little bit annoyed about that. And that's a good ace down the tee there from Sinner, though. 213 kilometers an hour as well, so good pace on that one. And that's another game point for the Italian, and yeah, that's a great serve this time out wide on the ad side. Another ace. And it does feel as if it might be inevitable the outcome this particular set. It does sort of feel inevitable any of this sort of the way this tournament is going. And you have to wonder as well is how inevitable, you know, these major tournaments are going to be going forward. It does feel like Sinner and Alcaraz are just a level above everyone else, and they are going to dominate for the foreseeable future. Is anyone really going to be able to challenge him? And we're hoping for someone else to come up the ranks. But it just seems so difficult at the moment. And you have to wonder, does that make things a little bit more boring? Because you've just got the same two guys who are as good as they are. If they're just winning everything and no one's really knocking on the door. Good morning, Ghosty. It's been a while. I mean, coming up the ranks at the moment, we've got Joao Fonseca. He certainly has the game of, in terms of the power and the weapons to be able to compete maybe in the future. But it's still going to be another year or two before we start to really see his potential. And Lerner Tien is definitely a player that is very impressive. Again, he's sort of lacking a bit in the weapons. There's no doubt that his rally is rallying. You know, he plays a smart game, and I really like the way that he plays. But when you are going to be up against these huge players, it's a different level. Jannik and Carlos. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Has actually Tien has he played either of them yet? Has he played a Sinner or? You need to tell me, Ghost. Has Tien played Sinner or Alcaraz? I don't think he has yet, right? So it'll be interesting to see if he does come up against him. Certainly, yeah, if you've got any questions about Rybakina, you can ask that too. But certainly, Tien, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, because it definitely is obviously beaten a lot of great players. I mean, yeah, he beat Zverev and Medvedev was very complimentary about him. So he definitely doesn't fear a lot of these guys, I don't think. It's a good question, Ghosty. And it'll be interesting regarding Rebecca if she can carry that form forward. And that was a funny point to start off there. And Shelton does come out on top with that looping return, which Sinner just really did not expect. It went over his head and they had to run back for it. And then Shelton eventually is able to run in and finish off with the volley at the net. And yeah, well, he's going to need to take any bits of fortune that come his way, Ben. Oh, yeah, such good play and back in behind Sinner. As we see a fan there wearing the carrot hat. Obviously, Jannik fan. Sinner 15-0 against Ben Shelton now. Of course, yes, Lerner as well just did win his first ATP title, the 250 title. So that was obviously good for him to get that, because he's had the big wins. He just didn't have the title to go with it, but also one of the youngest, ATP title winners. So 15-30. I mean, he has created a fair number of points on the Jannik Sinner serve. Yeah, Shelton. But obviously, he hasn't been able to get the break, as Sinner just finishes off that point with conviction. Good question, Ghosty. Why does anyone wear a cap indoors? You see, what's his name? Jacob Fernley. He always wears his cap backwards and indoors in all conditions. Just, I don't know. For me personally, if I was playing tennis, I don't think I'd want to play with a cap. I mean, I guess indoors, I suppose there could be some sort of lights above you that might be a bit annoying. I think probably Jannik's just wearing it because it's the sponsor. Maybe they want him to wear it, but yeah, for me personally, I wouldn't really want to play with a hat if I can avoid it. I mean, yeah, if it's sunny, it's different, but oh, good play. Oh, the drop shot was there for Shelton. It was almost well executed, just a bit too cute, and I thought he did well though. And he's got Jannik breathing hard, but it is 4-2. Yeah, I was unlucky with the drop shot. Just what can you do? I mean, yeah, he really needs to be perfect, doesn't it, against Jannik? But that was a good forehand put away by Shelton. What are your thoughts, Ghosty, on Shelton? Do you think he'll win a slam? Or do you think Lerner's going to be the one to do it first? We haven't had an American slam winner since 2003, is it? Yeah, good play there from Jannik. Yeah, at this point, it does increasingly look like it's going to be how many games Shelton's going to win. Because it's hard to see past Sinner winning again in straight sets, as all the last 6 matches between them, or 7 matches, I should say, have been. Ugh. If he's just got a bit of time at all, even from the middle of the court, you know, it's just, you just know Sinner's just going to finish it off. Yeah, Synchronized, that's the thing. It's like, maybe if someone else gets through, you're going to hope, you know, maybe someone, you know, there's an injury or there's some incident or something happens where one of them maybe gets knocked out early. I mean, that's maybe going to happen. Obviously, Carlos, you know, he did lose early in Paris, although it's much less likely to happen in the slams, and that's what makes them so tough. I mean, you have to beat the best, and you have to do it over 5 sets. Yes, good points there, Ghosty. I think though as well. I mean, just seeing this particular match, what Shelton has been doing, you know, in the Sinner return games, being super aggressive and coming in the net and whatnot. I do think you're going to have to, yeah, disrupt him a bit like that and give him something more to think about. You've got to come up with something because you know, and also if it does work, I mean, maybe start to get into his head a little bit. I mean, the tennis is also a bit of a mental game as well in that respect. So just trying to, yeah, from the baseline, it's just you're gonna be end up in a pretty horrible situation if you just keep trying to do that. And but yeah, definitely it feels more exciting for sure on the women's side. And we talked about Rybakina, but we've and you know, if Rybakina, if she can, you know, continue that form forward, you've obviously got, you know, Coco there, and you've got Swiatek and Sabalenka. But there's other players there that are, you know, can come through and disrupt things as well. Some younger players coming through. Yeah, there was some more slice, I think, from Ben, but it was more, what I liked was just how aggressive he was being on the Sinner second serve. And he didn't quite get the break, but he almost was able to get the break. Just net rushing like that and just making Sinner, rushing him, but also just making him think a little bit more and putting him under a little bit more pressure. So and perhaps there's players that might be able to do that even better than Shelton can, but yeah, the women's game, it just seems a bit more. Yeah, it's a bit more even at the top. And obviously, I mean, I think also as well in general, I mean, the women's game, the quality is, it's as good as it's ever been in terms of at the top and just the general competition, I think. But yeah, it's interesting. Well, we'll see how, as we talked about Joao Fonseca and the way he plays. I mean, I think. All right, Ghosty. Yeah, with Fonseca, obviously the way that he plays is very aggressive, and he likes to go for the winners. He's such a big game, but it's going to take a little bit more time, and it has taken him a bit more time to adjust because obviously, he plays with some risk. He's definitely got better and developed in that respect, but he's going to need to obviously find that consistency if he's going to be a top 10, top 5 player, or challenge even these guys. So no doubt that he's got an exceptionally exciting game. And we talked about Lerner on the other hand, he is got a much more consistent game. But maybe lacking a bit in the weapons, but he has the game to compete. See you later, Ghosty. Okay, so injection of pace there from Ben Shelton was enough to bring the error from Sinner. So 15 love, 5-3 Sinner, but obviously Ben hoping to, hold here and make Jannik serve out this first set. Let's see if you can make Jannik wobble. That was a bit of a shame. That was a pretty nice looking backhand up the line, but yeah, just too much on it. It goes long. Would have been great if it was well executed, but I mean, I don't think Sinner was getting there. But big serve down the middle there into the body. Yeah, Sinner barely gets it back, but Shelton had plenty of time, but he hits that big forehand into the net, and he's going to be disappointed in that because it's now 15-30 and Sinner's 2 points away from the first set. Oh, that's a serve going out wide on this ad side, and it's going to be a second serve. And yeah, that's well stepped in there by Sinner, and he hits that forehand up the line, and he has now 2 set points. So one of those set point saves of a big serve from Ben, 30-40. And that big serve, first serve is out, so it will be a second serve. Sinner waiting in anticipation. He's going to pounce on this. Oh, it is big into the body. Oh, but Sinner again just doing enough to get it back, and Shelton tries to go big, but hits his forehand into the net. We've seen that a few times, and yeah, he looks disappointed.
Oh, hello, Eddie. You all right?
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Good, good. Now, I have missed most of that first set. But that last game, I mean, yeah, I just my feeling about this match is, in a way, it's more important for Shelton than Sinner, because obviously this is a dead rubber. But what do I mean by more important? I also mean, like, if Shelton shows himself, if he shows up and loses in 3 sets, or, you know, he goes down a break in the next set, but he fights back, forces a tie break, plays some good stuff. And I think it's kind of important for him to show Jannik what he might be able to do in 2026. So, and I don't know, because I haven't seen all of the first set, but it doesn't look like, certainly from that last game, which I saw, that Ben is showing himself really in that respect.
No, I mean, it didn't really help that he got broken in the first game of the match, and then obviously it's an uphill struggle from then. I mean, I did like, as I said, he did have chances. He did get pretty close in the middle of the set to be able to break back. He was being super aggressive, especially in the Sinner's second serve, coming into net and actually getting some success and rushing Jannik and doing something a bit different, which was good to see, I think, but yeah, I mean, it would have been good if he was able to actually, you know, get closer in this match, and at least just to see, you know, maybe try out some different ideas, and I think he has been trying, but it's obviously not worked for him. And yeah, at least if you don't win, you know, if you're able to maybe use something that you can use going forward when you play against him. But it's more or less just business as usual for Jannik, I'm afraid.
Yeah, because we are all desperate for someone to challenge the big two, and
yeah.
I'm looking at Ben more than anyone else. I really am, and didn't have huge amounts of optimism about this tournament, because I just think it's just a bit too early for him in his evolution as a player. Also, he's obviously had a disjointed second half of the season with a shoulder injury. I can see he's wearing a sleeve today, etc., etc. Listen, we will talk about Elena Rybakina a little bit now. If there's a break point, because they are returning to the court for the next set, and you'll be able to see Eddie and I clearly. I'm just going to change the background. But yeah, just going to have a quick couple of minutes on Elena. We will interrupt, as I say, if there's a break point or something crazy happens in the match. But just a quick reflection, Eddie, on her WTA Finals title. And we will also look forward. But first of all, what did you make of her performances in Riyadh?
Well, I mean, it was pretty, tremendous, really, been the way that she's come through. I mean, yeah, I definitely think, like, obviously playing in the conditions there, it obviously helps her game, but it was always a question of whether, she was able to bring it out, and obviously she'd come in to the finals in good form, having won the title in Ningbo, right? And that was obviously, it was just a question of whether she can carry that consistency forward. And obviously, yeah, she was able to do it. Started off with that, very comprehensive victory against Anisimova, and yeah, coming back pretty comprehensively against Swiatek in that second match, and also a very tough one as well against Pegula in the semi-finals, right? I mean, I thought that she was maybe going to lose that one, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's hard to say whether. I mean, it was tremendous performances that she's put in, and she definitely deserved to take the title. But it's hard to say whether is she going to be able to carry this forward. I mean, I would say that since she's won that Wimbledon title, she's always been at the top, but she's never quite maybe had the the consistency that you would maybe hope and expect from someone that's going to be challenging for slam titles. And it is going to be interesting to see if she can actually carry that forward into, the Australian Open is obviously the next big tournament. And that's going to be a big test, really, I guess, to see whether she's at. I mean, she does seem, in spite of we talked about she gets a lot of attention about things that are happening away from the court, but it seems like at the moment things are working pretty well for her. She seems, playing well, and it seems content. So it's just if that's the case, then let's see what happens. But there she is on the screen. Obviously, she's got that trophy.
Yeah.
Happy. Let's see if she can take it forward.
I'm going to address a couple of things from Jake, and then you can add on top to that. Is there anything you saw in terms of her game that was different during that week, or simply Rybakina catching fire when she does? I'm leaning more towards just Rybakina catching fire, as she is capable of, because I think her peak on the tour is as good as anyone. So I'm putting her a joint number one. I mean, I think Sabalenka's peak, Iga's peak, particularly on clay, and Rybakina's peak probably is the highest, even higher than Coco's peak. Coco is close, and probably Anisimova too. But those three, their peak. The problem is only Arena and Iga win when they're not playing well, and also regularly peak at just the right times, i.e. the fact that we can rely on Arena and Iga over the last 2, 3, 4 years to always go deep at slams. Just constantly, really. The odd occasion on grass, of course, for Iga, but elsewhere, she's always getting to quarters, maybe if she comes up against Rybakina on fire, etc. But that's the first thing. The second point from Jake here, where would you put her peak level? Well, I think I've just kind of addressed that. So what do you think about these two questions, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm sort of in agreement that, she did catch fire, and I think, obviously the conditions as well, that like it just helps her as well. But that's not to say that she can't maybe carry that forward. It's going to be interesting to see if she can do that in Australia and going forward. But also, she obviously, the way she plays, I think, when she is at her best, she can dominate anyone basically, and make just players that are top 10, top 20 look pretty ordinary at times. They don't really have the answers when she's just playing with when everything's going well for her in terms of she's just making all the balls, then it's really difficult for any player to play against her. But it's just a question of does she have that consistency in terms of it's great if you can have those weeks where you're playing so well and your top game is so good in different matches, but it's about also your lowest level as well, I always think. And is she going to have a dip again where she, and that's what, separates, we talked about Sabalenka and Swiatek. They don't have as many, or they haven't had as many of those off days, and even if they do, they're maintaining a certain level, which, and that's partly because of style as well. I mean, if you compare it to Swiatek especially, but it's just, now is the big question. Obviously, she seems to be rejuvenated. It's just a question of, how much really.
Yeah. I'm very optimistic about 2026, and the key word for me in response to some of the points you just made, Eddie, is intensity. If she can maintain it, because she just feels as though she goes off the boil, and that's when she loses matches. And I think if she can maintain the intensity that she showed from the absolute first point to the last at the WTA Finals, she should win a Grand Slam next year. And I don't think world number one is beyond her. Now, she's got a huge amount of points to make up, of course, from where she is. But, she wins 2 Grand Slams next year, and I think that's within her grasp. Now, that's not me predicting it. I think one would be an excellent year for her but she should be winning more. She should have, by this stage of her career, she should definitely have more than 1 Grand Slam. Do you want to quickly respond to that, and we'll come back then to Sinner Shelton?
Yeah, I mean, as well. I mean, she's up at 5 in the rankings now. I mean, yeah, yeah, it
It is a
definitely
huge
feels
gap,
like.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely feels like she should, be higher up and then be competing for those big titles. And yeah, it's just I don't know. It's going to be like I think it will obviously depend as well on if you're talking about slams, on the draws as well. I mean, who's she going to play against? But yeah, obviously I mean, I don't know where she's going to be. I guess she's still going to be 5th, right? Or so when it comes down to Australian Open, probably seeded. So yeah, I mean, it depends what side of the draw she gets in as well. But like, yeah, I can't really say. I mean, I think this makes it interesting though now, as we've talked as well about like the women's game at the moment. It does feel like you've got quite a few players there that are coming, and they're going to have potential to do it. And I think in terms of like relative to expectation of how she can play, yeah, definitely Rebecca has not really lived up to expectations since that Wimbledon title. And yeah, it would be good to see if she can actually, if she's actually able to make it to a final, then that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Back to Sinner and Shelton. They are on serve pretty comfortably in this set. It's 2-1 at the change of ends. I'll share the score with you guys on the screen. I'll be back in about another couple of minutes. I've just got to step away again, but just for 2 minutes, Eddie. And yeah, I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, so it is just a break now. On serve, Sinner leading 2-1 in this second set. And the DJ's playing some music and everyone's having a bit of fun and dancing around. A lot of Sinner fans obviously wearing orange. Obviously, this is in Italy, in Torino, the home of Juventus, the football team, and Torino. But if you're into football, and of course, it continues the ATP Finals in Torino. They used to also have the next gen finals in Milan, which moved to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, but that's also going to be moving. So yeah, there's going to be open actually. The next gen finals. That's some news, and no idea where that's going to go. But Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, choosing to give up that. That's going to be something we'll find out soon. But producer just making a comment there. Bon, yeah, why not? Here and so, why not? Sinner, yeah, maybe he won't be able to make it until number 1 until February. But I mean, he's gonna, yeah, I mean, he's all got so many points to defend. I mean, that's what's affected him here, obviously, having won it. And then, yeah, he's going to have to back up Australian Open, right? So, yeah, I mean, it might be, of course, though, with Jannik, he doesn't have the points to defend from, yeah, because right, it was after February, wasn't it? There's a few months in spring before the French Open because of his ban last year. So, yeah, that's maybe where he's going to be able to make up some ground. Yeah, and that'll be some of the big clay tournaments as well. And maybe be wanting to do well there because, yeah, of course, still hasn't had a French Open title and came so close in that match last year. But Ben's holding on here on serve. It's 2-all. Better start to this second set than the first for the American. Yeah, I mean, we talk about, obviously, Sinner and Alcaraz. They are going to be playing an exhibition in Seoul at the start of the season on the 10th of January, I believe. And that's their preparation before the Australian Open. Yes, I do still drink classic breakfast tea, and so I just had I just got some Tetley's tea, which I drink happily. I always have to have tea. I'm more of a tea drinker than a coffee drinker, although I do drink coffee. So yeah, the Sinner and Alcaraz is going to be playing an exhibition in Seoul, right next to the airport. So they're literally, they can arrive at the airport and be pretty much right at the venue. There must be a big, nice hotel there as well. And yeah, they're really not going to have to come in even to Seoul. They're just going to be by the airport. And yeah, the ticket prices, I think that's going to go on sale on Tuesday. It's pretty damn expensive for me. Let's see. Maybe I can turn up. Maybe they'll give me a media accreditation. But we'll have to wait and see. No, I don't know if I'm going to be at that, to be honest. But it's an interesting one. I wonder how much they're getting paid to do that. $40.15 to Jannik Sinner. Let's see if Ben can do something interesting here. Well, no, that was a big serve banged down by Jannik Sinner, another ace. So it's still on serve at 3-2. Well, we're still on serving. As I said, I mean, really, from Shelton's point of view, you're just going to try and hopefully, he's going to hope to take care of his serve and just hope that he gets a little chance. Or if not, take it to a tiebreak and then get lucky there.
Okay, I'm back. Still on serve, I see.
Yes.
And I did hear your response, I think, which was a yes to my tea question.
Yeah, I was saying that I recently just got some Tetley's tea.
While you were in the UK, or did you order it online?
No. You can buy it here.
Oh,
you can buy it. Yeah, you can get it here. So
okay. I think Bonn, there's like one shop I think I know. You can get like black tea, and it's just probably not quite strong enough, really.
Right.
But I do buy that occasionally. But I'll go through phases. I might not have an English cup of tea, as I would call it, for like 3 months. But now I've got a load of tea back because my sister was here recently and she brought some Yorkshire tea over.
Oh yeah, Yorkshire tea. That's quite strong.
Yeah, although I think I've put too much milk in this one. I was right at the bottom of the carton, and so I thought, okay, I'll just empty this carton because I knew it was right at the bottom, but then probably there was slightly more than I expected. So I've left the tea bag in, which I do anyway quite a lot because I like it quite strong. Hi, Jake, by the way. Sinner, I am up that big check by winning. Okay, so of course you get, I guess, you get more money and also more points, don't you? I mean, actually, in terms of world number one, so it might be coming back to this point, but also Ben, because I think there's the top 5 is still possible for Ben, but I think he would probably have to win today to have a shout. PG tips all the way for Matthew. I mean, it's all much of a muchness for me. If you leave it in a bit long, I mean, like when I was a student, I used to often buy the cheap ones, and then just leave it in there a lot longer, basically, or put a little bit less milk in, like Sainsbury's Basics or whatever, Tesco's Value. Used to get pasta for when I was studying in London, one of the most expensive cities in the world, but and I remember public transport was just a killer. In fact, I had this discount thing, but it didn't give you a discount until you spent a certain amount, or I think it only worked on monthly tickets. Anyway, so in other words, it was still an arm and a leg to travel around. And there was pasta, I think, from the Sainsbury's nearby. And I think it was about 30p, I would say, in a sort of orangey and transparent bag, and sort of a brownish in color, I would suggest. And it did the job. It was still fine, but not the best pasta in the world. It wasn't fitting for Jannik or any of these other guys in the crowd probably today, but there we go.
You're about your student days now.
That was my late 20s. I was a bit of a late blossomer, or just a late person to go to uni. I did a bit of traveling before that. I flunked some. I just about did okay in my GCSEs. Went to oh my god, have you seen that serve? That second serve from Shelton today?
Yeah,
that one just now. So I'm my street's probably behind yours. That second serve is the kind of thing you see at your local club from someone. I know a guy who I played him today. Actually, he did actually beat me, but he double faults quite a bit, and yeah, that second serve was just like an amateur, and that forehand is quite similar as well. Deary me. I've just seen the shank forehand. I'm at 40-30 on my screen.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to add anything to my milk and tea, and there's a bit more tea comments from Matthew in the chat as well. Oh, Jake, it actually was Boiler Boy. Boiler Boy this year, and especially the second half of the year, has turned our rivalry around. As in, I used to win 90% of the matches. This year, it's probably about 50-50. He's improved a bit, but I am just, just remember Rafa in the last few months of his career, and he can't put Borges away, and he's beaten by Botic. I think I'm at that sort of, I think Botic would probably beat me now.
Yeah, do you usually play on clay?
Yeah, clay or indoors in winter on carpet, which is really completely different. And yeah, we do play on clay. I like playing on clay, but just looking at my results, they do tend to be better away from clay. So, including carpet, by the way. So carpet, I've never played on grass, but they sort of make comparisons between the two because they're very speedy. And not Boiler Boy, but there's another guy who plays very defensive, probably the most defensive player I play, basically. And I've never played him on carpet, but I cannot wait to play him on carpet because his game will not work in a million years on carpet because, he's often getting my smash is not amazing, but he's often getting my smashes back. And also my slice is obviously not as effective on clay, but on carpet, it's fine. So, and you can't play defense. Not really. You can't play. Plus, regarding Damien as well, I've played him 3 times now, and the really close one, the one where I should have won, was on hard courts in Porto a couple of years ago, 18 months ago. What about you? Hard courts, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm playing, it will be usually, hopefully, hard courts, yeah. Although, no, there are the artificial, what do you call the carpet, grass. But yeah. Yeah.
Go for it. You've got a question.
Shelton.
Here.
Shelton, yes.
Definitely.
I think he could fluke one.
You think he needs to fluke it? I think he's 22, is he? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when I say fluke it, I think maybe that's not the right word to use. But what I mean, it might take like one of Sinner and Alcaraz like dropping out
right now, yeah. But who's to say that his level in the next 18 months won't go up? Now, of course, Jannik's and Carlos's might, but they might plateau. They might even have a bad 6 months, an injury or whatever. If you said to me, who's winning a slam, like Djokovic is winning another one, or Ben Shelton is winning one in his career, I'm going Ben Shelton's winning one in his career. And he's got 15 years to do it.
I think he could do it, yeah, for sure. It's just like I would be, if he had to face, I mean, at this moment in time, even if we're looking into the future, if we had to face Sinner or Alcaraz, I would be surprised if Shelton came out on top in a final. But maybe he met them before that. You know, there's possibility there, I think, you know. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm very optimistic on Ben. I'm at the same point that probably most of the world was, including myself, was on Holger maybe 3 years ago, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And in fact, if you said to me Holger or Ben, well, Holger's not going to be playing until at least, I would suggest, the French Open, but maybe beyond. Probably more likely could well be the US Open, I think. But yeah, Ben winning Wimbledon, for example, serve bought it out. Plus, and he's trying. We've seen it in this tournament. And Jannik has held quite comfortably, by the way, off to 30. You know, we've seen it a bit in this tournament. He's serving and volleying. He's serving and volleying on second serve. I don't know if he's done it today, by the way, but in his first two matches, but especially against Zverev, he was really trying to rush Zverev. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But it didn't work because his execution was not great. And his volleys are sensational or crap. There's sort of nothing in between. And then there's the return as well. And that's his biggest issue, in my opinion, in his game, is for me, the return. And especially, again, for winning Wimbledon, I think he probably does need a better return and maybe a slice as well. So, but he's getting to the second weeks of slams 9 times out of 10 now. Now, I mean, not officially 9 out of 10. You could look at the last 10 and he's done it 7 times or 8 times or whatever. But you know, he's a. If you said to me, is he making the second week of Australia? I'd say there's like an 80 to 90% chance of him making.
He's definitely improved a lot, and he's still improving, isn't he? So it's just gonna be. Yeah, he's got something special about him for sure. So I mean, I wouldn't say never that he's not going to win a slam. I mean, the chances in the future are probably quite high, and certainly if there wasn't. There's also the possibility that, you know, one of Sinner and Alcaraz could get injured, which creates
suspended or whatever, as we've seen. But yeah. But I don't think he even needs. So when we talk about Djokovic right now, we sort of talk in those terms, don't we? We sort of talk in the terms of Novak maybe needs to get a bit lucky in terms of one of Alcaraz, or especially Sinner, I think, you know, goes out early in a shock or whatever, gets injured, whatever, and then just has to beat Carlos, for example, in a final or whatever, and maybe it's Wimbledon or something like that, and maybe, you know, but there's a lot of things like that. Novak recognized that. I think with Ben, yes, right now, if there was a Grand Slam tomorrow, it probably would have to be like that. But who's to say that Ben Shelton won't get better in that? I suspect he should get better. Most players, with the exception of Holger Rune, do get better as the years go by, as long as they stay healthy. It's a lovely kick serve, but he's got to put that volley away. Doesn't. I think he went the wrong way, but that was casual. But he gets away with it. Was Jannik all right? There's not a match, by the way, that goes by, even a love and one or something for Jannik, where you aren't at one point concerned for him because he seems to be struggling at somehow.
Yeah, poor Holger, eh? He's going to be out maybe all of next season, right?
I've seen that. But yeah, I've seen the two like levels of extreme are, you know, French Open is a target, or all of next year, or certainly the four slams next year. So maybe indoor season. Probably the truth will lie in between somewhere. That's my. I'm not a doctor, but or a surgeon, but Yeah, I don't think it'll be all of next season. If it's the Achilles, like I've seen with footballers from Neil Webb, I remember doing his Achilles in September of 1989 in a World Cup qualifier, I think against Sweden, and he played in the FA Cup final, which was in the May. So yeah, what's going on here? Jannik's changing his racket, is he? Don't think he's retiring. Surely not. That's just changing his racket. So yeah, that's how I see it. Now, I'm sure it's not a case of every Achilles. Oh, that looks a bit like one of my rackets, actually, in terms of the damage. Yeah, now that's not me. Yeah, I'm sure that every Achilles injury is different, and especially depending on the individual and everything else. But that's how I see it. Rather, just back to my Novak and Ben comparisons. If you said to me who's more likely to win the Australian Open, I would still lean towards Novak, because I think Novak his level is still very much there to not guarantee, but should be getting to absolutely minimum quarters, but probably semis. Whereas I don't think we can quite have that guarantee with Ben. Plus, with Novak's experience, maybe he doesn't play Carlos or Jannik in that semi, and suddenly he's in the final. Whereas Ben, it's ifs, buts, and maybes. But the problem is Novak has somewhere between 3 and 12 more Grand Slams in him, I would suggest. I can't see much more than 12, because he's got the Olympics of 2028, which of course would be 4 slams next year, 4 slams the year after, and then 3 or 4 the year after that. So he's obviously he knows that it might not come to it, because he might not even be close to the level in 3 years.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that's going to happen.
It might not happen. No, it might. It could be, and I've mentioned 3 because it could be. His 2026 could be a bit like Rafa's 23 or 24. I think he's got a bit more physicality still there compared to Rafa at those 2 stages, but I don't see him. It could be. He could have a big drop off, and I do think that if you watch, I know he's just won Athens, but he nearly loses to Lorenzo Musetti, and in my opinion, despite his heroics against Alex de Minaur, Lorenzo Musetti is somewhere between 15 and 25 in the world on hard courts, indoors maybe even lower. I put someone like Felix, for example, quite a way ahead of him on indoor hard, I think. And there's other players out there that So I'm just saying, Lorenzo Musetti is a great clay court player, pretty good on grass. Not bad on indoor hards and not bad on hard court, but he's not, he's never winning the US or Australia. Absolutely not. I don't think he'll ever make a final there either. And obviously they're not indoors either. So I just think I would be, I would have loved to have seen him play. I don't think Ben Shelton has played Novak this year. I saw them maybe a couple of times close in the draw, and I thought that might happen, but they never did.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Going back to, obviously, you were talking about Djokovic. I don't think he's going to be going in 2028. I mean, that's going to be crazy. There's going to be other guys coming up, and at some point, I think it's going to seem like a little bit. If there's too many guys in front of him, it's not going to. I don't think he's going to keep playing. I guess when it comes to 2028. Regardless of his ranking, he'll still be able to get a spot at the Olympics, I think, because he's Djokovic, right? They'll let him in regardless of where he is. But going back to Shelton, I think, obviously he does have at least the weapons. It's just a case of, does he have, the consistency to put it all together, and then, but at least he has that.
That's right. That's probably the main reason, Eddie, I'm big on him, because he has the weapons. It's not like, maybe even Musetti, who we just touched upon, or Davidovich Fokina, or who else is probably in Rublev, etc., etc. And you could probably keep going with this. Casper to a large extent away from Clay, especially. Those guys just don't have enough, really. I think Casper, for example, probably doesn't make another Slam final. And that's not, you could shout his age at me right now. And of course, that's not the reason. It's just that, his game, he's never going to be big enough, even on clay. It's never going to be big enough to beat Jannik and or Carlos. And maybe, he's going to be vulnerable. Even at the French Open, he could, where he's obviously hoping to peak, him going out third or fourth round doesn't, is not beyond the realms of possibility. There is a couple of things that I want to add to. Just at this point about Novak. Yeah, but I don't... If he's okay with being ranked 21 in the world and not going deep at slams anymore, then he could still make the Olympics. And especially if he was to play doubles there, for example, if that's also part of the conversation, then I actually think he could. But is he okay with being beaten by Rublev, Felix, Davidovich Fokina, and all those guys as well? And therefore, in that, is he okay with that? And I don't know if he is, despite him saying recently, just this week actually, or the interview was published this week with Piers Morgan, that he just loves the game, and therefore that was sort of hinting that he might be okay with it. The other point is, I'm not sure, Matthew. I would agree with that. I watched him. Yeah, I watched him 2 of his 4 matches in Athens, and also best of 5 is a problem for him now. I think he might lose that match to Lorenzo in a best of 5, for example. Now it's difficult to know, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, Hanfman, sure, he almost lost. I think he had a 3-setter with Hanfman a couple of months ago in Asia, didn't he? Oh, by the way, we've got an interesting point. I'd like us just to focus on the match now, just here, Eddie, because you're a little bit ahead of me, and it's 15:30.
Yeah, well, it's 30-all now.
Okay.
So that was almost. I mean, good serve there from Ben.
He's still got to hit his spots. That's still a big. So we talk about him serving his way to a title or whatever. I mean, him winning, by the way, in Canada is a nice thing. That when Jannik and Carlos weren't there, he did it. I don't know. Of course, there's other tournaments when they're not there and he doesn't do it, or there's other tournaments when he doesn't play either of them and he still doesn't make the final or whatever. But I think that was important for him. He's won a 1,000 now. That could have been something that would have been thrown at him for a few years. Oh, what's happened?
Well,
I've just seen that return. Wow. Oh no, it was. Oh, okay. Didn't land in.
Maybe I'm a bit further ahead, but no, we've got a match point.
Okay. Talk me through it, Eddie, or just keep an eye on it.
But it's 30-40, so Ben will be really hoping for a serve here. Just a quick ace. He sometimes goes right into the body, though, against Sinner. We'll see if he does that.
Yeah, because
he does go right into the body.
Yeah.
Oh, almost Sinner just keeps getting the ball back. No, he does eventually finish it off, so it works out for him.
Yeah, that body serve that he does on the first serve, especially. Anyway, it's another thing that I don't. Maybe it's a tactic against Jannik, but I also think he doesn't have faith in his ability to hit the spots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, especially against Jannik, I think so. If it's hit hard enough down the middle, even Jannik will just. He might return it, but he'll just get a racket on it. But I mean, still risky. Oh, another ace there out wide for Ben, so he's hanging in. So let's see if we get to a tie break and see what happens.
I'm not sure he beats Draper, Matthew. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he beats Felix indoors. I mean, these are all different. I mean, he probably beats Draper on clay, but and that's my point with Jannik. I don't have 2 years ago. Remember him in the ATP Finals in 2023 and playing Casper in the French Open final that year, and you're just going, you know what? Oh, go on, tell me.
No, good point there from point one from a baseline exchange by Shelton. Nice finish on the forehand side, going back in behind Sinner and actually coming out dominating on top in that rally. So that's
got himself out of the hole there. Yeah. Just watching this last point, and yeah, he's gone big on the backhand. That's a lovely forehand there. He wants to, look at him celebrate there. Okay, he has saved a match point, winning 3 points in a row, but this is important to him, and I think if he can be, listen, he still could win this match. He's very close to a tiebreak, or, he gets a bit, but is he threatening the Jannik serve? I don't even know if he's had tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's had a break point, has he?
No, he did, didn't he?
Did he? I haven't watched every single game, so...
No. In the first set,
did he? Oh, okay.
He had one break point.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Against Felix, I think it was 2 sets in a row. He obviously broke twice in the first set, but then I think he didn't get another break point with the rest of the match. And in the third set, he was way off. He just wasn't coming close to threatening the Felix serve. And Felix was serving quite well, but it wasn't him having one of his indoor serve bot days. Do you remember about 3 years ago when he didn't get broken for about, I don't know if it was 50, 60, 70 games on indoor hards, and he won 2 titles, I think. And he took that into the 22 finals, and I thought he was coming out of the group, and he flunked. He beat Rafa, but that was it. And went out in the group stage.
Who's that?
Felix.
Oh, right. Yeah, Felix is another one, in spite of his inconsistencies and, when he's on.
I think right now, and come back to what Matthew says, and I think right now, Felix on his day can beat Novak, for example. The level I'm seeing from Novak, but then Novak does defy that and gets to a slam semi-final again and again and again. Because probably every slam this year. I remember very assertively saying, he is not winning Australia at all. And everyone was like, well, no. And he did surprise me in the way he swatted aside. Was it Mahac, Lehetska? And then obviously beat Carlos in 4. But I think it's the Mahac and Lehetska back-to-back straight sets that was like, oh, I expected him to win those matches, but I didn't expect it to be that comfortable. And then also in the French Open, I didn't even bother to say anything, even though I didn't think he was going to win it. But again, he surprised me in beating Zverev the way he did. And for 1 or 2 sets of the semi-final against Jannik, he showed it. I would actually say the worst loss for him was probably the US Open one to Carlos, where he did look old. He did look old in terms of third set, not a tank, but it was like, I can't do this. I'm so tired from the last 10 days exertions. But the 2 losses to Jannik, and especially I think the French Open, in the third set, he still looked pretty fresh. And I think it might have got to 4-all, 5-all or something like that. Exactly, Matthew. I completely agree. And that's where Novak is at. Whereas it's not a case of Novak just running into Carlos. I agree that was probably something that we've seen a lot this season in slams. But I now think going into 2026, it's not just Carlos and Jannik. That's what I think. I think Draper, if he's fit and he shows the level that he showed between September last year and until he got the injury, this year around about Wimbledon time, and his grass court form wasn't great as well, especially at Wimbledon itself. But I think Draper has at least a 50-50 chance against Novak. I think Felix has a 50-50 chance. I think so. There's too many 50-50s there for me that just weren't 50-50s 2 years ago.
And this is it. Oh, serving volley there from Shelton. He gets away with it as his volley hits the net cord and dribbles over the net.
Okay. See, Ben's he's. I like this. I like him. I didn't dislike him doing the rushing the other day against Zverev, but his execution was, not great. He was trying to step in on the serves, second serves in particular, but even first serves, he was being pretty aggressive. But the problem was, I think there was a spell. Oh yeah, I could have seen that. Very lucky. There was a spell against Zverev where I think he 5 service games in a row. I think he won 1 point on the Zverev serve. Depends on the draw, but I wouldn't be surprised if Novak goes out 4th round in Australia. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to the semis, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he goes out 4th round. If I don't know if it's possible, but maybe someone like Felix or someone's lying in wait. Maybe not Felix. He'll probably be top 8, but
Lerner Tien.
Yeah, I thought Lerner would do something. I didn't think I think I went for a Novak in 5, but Lerner in that first set was horrible. From the second set onwards, much better. And I think it was straight set. Was it straight sets or was it 4 sets in the end? I remember the second set was really close and maybe one that Lerner should have won. Or was it 4 sets that match in there? I think I was trying to remember.
Can't remember, yeah.
I just remember that the second set was amazing and was the Lerner I expected to turn up, but he just did. It was straight sets. Oh, I remember what it was as well. Novak was struggling, classic kind of Novak, was struggling so much physically in the second set and somehow won the tiebreak. And then third set, he was fresh as a daisy again, or not fresh as a daisy, and I think Lerner goes up an early break in the third, believe it or not, even though it was 6-2, Lerner went up an early break in the third set, but seeded it straight away. All right, looks like we've got a tiebreak incoming. Yeah, Jaime. I remember Faria winning that second set against Novak. And I remember being very pleased for Jaime.
Mm-hmm.
What is Ben doing there? Oh, I mean, it is entertaining. Right? Yeah.
Okay, to the tiebreak we go.
All right. Talk us through this because you're obviously about a point ahead of me in sync with score on the screen as well.
I mean, it's good that Ben's keeping it this tight. I mean,
yeah.
I did think as well, like, it could be, a short one. It could be a 6-3, 6-1 or something, but
honestly, the results at least. We could talk about the performances some other time, or if we get time, if it does go to a third, we will. But the results are not that surprising for me for Ben at this tournament. I said it a week ago when I did a preview with Steve Flink. I said I think he's possibly losing all 3. I don't think he's coming out of the group. I think it's too early in his evolution for various reasons. But I felt like he's at a similar level to what Felix was at 3 years ago, when he went out in the group stage. And having Jannik in your group means there's only one spot available, basically. So Sinner wins the first point.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. He went for the big body serve again.
Oh, what? Tell me.
Oh man, well you'll see it, but the ball, a high ball from the back of the court, and Jannik just hits the smash, but it goes into the net, and so an opportunity missed, I suppose, from his point of view. But
it was a good body serve. Why didn't Ben
watch?
I'm going to watch it. Yeah. Okay, it's a different. If it's a smash from the baseline, yeah, that's for anyone other than Alcaraz. That is, even for Jannik, it's missable. Yeah, I remember Rafa missing a horrible one like that against Tsitsipas in Australia, and that was the beginning of that match anyway. Or that in terms of that match alone was the beginning of Rafa's downfall in that match. He lost in 5.
But this time, too good from Jannik as he goes back in behind, wrong foots Shelton with the backhand up the line, and just too good. And the first mini break.
I don't know if it's the case on this point, but I have seen it once or twice today, but also a lot in Ben's career, that his shot selection, that's okay. I'm watching at the moment. Yeah, that's his fine, although it's a bit short. Yeah. But sometimes it's sort of Holger-esque in terms of pretty much having all the pieces, but just not utilizing them.
His return just going long, so 3-1.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben against Felix a couple of days ago was just a match of terrible returns. And Felix was just not as bad as Ben in that particular match. As a football fan, I don't find the round robin stage as difficult to work out as I think non-football fans do. People that don't, because I'm familiar with goal difference and all the rest of it. Yes, it's a little bit more complicated because you've got to do percentages sometimes and stuff. But I knew as soon as that match was beginning, I knew what de Minaur needed. I knew he needed a 4-game swing. So basically, he has to win 4 more games than Fritz. He knocks Fritz out and therefore just needs Carlos to win in any way, shape, or form, even 3 sets to go through. I knew it because I did the quick calculation beforehand. Because he was 7, I think he was 7 games behind. It's an ace down the tee, so 4-1. He was 7 games behind Fritz going into it. So he wins 4 more games than Taylor. He gets 4. Taylor loses 4, and he's ahead of him. Oh, what's happened?
Another net cord favouring Ben Shelton this time. He was going for the passing shot, but it just clips the tape and then it does pass Jannik. But
the other net cord was in this tiebreak as well, wasn't it? It was a volley right at the beginning of the tiebreak, wasn't it? Or was it at the end of the second set? I can't remember now. So I think it's 2 net cords in this tiebreak has got him these 2 points. Am I right with that?
Yeah.
Or was the
Well, it helped him out in that one that he won. Oh my goodness!
Oh, that net cord is wild. I mean, there was a probable put away. It wasn't an easy volley for Jannik, but it's one of those that clips the net and flies over his racket and is a cross-court winner, basically.
Yeah. Couldn't really do anything.
That slice got way too much height on it and too much bounce.
Oh, well, he gets away with it again, I thought, because but Ben coming into the net again, though, and it works out for him. Yeah, the touch volley.
He's probably got to do something different, even if it looks like a bit fortuitous when he wins points.
Good reactions in the end from him, though, and he loved that.
Yeah. And it's a good reaction. The first volley could have been a bit better. I mean, it wasn't easy, but at least he makes Jannik run for it. But I have been saying for a year or so, maybe a bit less, let's see some nice serve and volleys. Let's see some net game from Ben. So we've seen it a lot at this tournament. It hasn't worked, but that's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, Jannik 5-3.
Jannik. Yeah, so as soon as he has a bit of time from the middle of the court, you just know he's just going to obliterate the ball.
Have we got another match point for him?
Not there yet.
He's just the 1 mini break advantage at the moment.
Oh. Second serve. Let's see what Ben does here.
I just don't trust him on the turn.
Oh, he does come in, but it's not great. Yeah. And it will be
3 more.
3 match points.
Still just 1 mini break. You know, he gets the break back here and then 2 holds. Talk me through it.
Oh, well, first serve is fault, so second serve it is now. Oh, goes big down the middle again, though, on the second serve. Oh, but it's Sinner returns it and the error on the backhand side from Shelton. So Sinner is the winner.
Sinner seals the deal. 6-3, 7-6. No great surprises, I guess, in terms of the result. Is there something that Ben can take from this going forward, do you think?
I mean, I think, it's positive, I guess, that he was able to keep that second set close after the first set. And I think even, obviously it wasn't ideal, obviously, him going down an early break in the first game, but, there were he did have one break point in that first set, and there were some sort of positive moments, I guess, in terms of, there was a little chance maybe he could have broken back, but maybe he'll have some ideas from this. But again, it's just, I think he has, some of the tools to be able to disrupt him, but it's just, you got to be perfect. Your execution's got to go, perfect every time. There's some few sloppy points here, they are not going to do it for you against Jannik. So yeah, maybe that'll come at some point, but obviously not today.
No, and not in this tournament as a whole. But I'm not as down as some people have been during this tournament on Ben. I think there's still, this is okay. Just don't do this again year after year. But now it's okay at your stage in your development. As for Jannik, I mean, perfect in this group. But I guess we're not surprised again. I remember a week ago talking to Steve Flink, and he said, I think Jannik's winning all three. And actually, I think he's probably winning all three in straight sets. And I was like, yeah, there's at least a 50-50 chance that that's exactly how it pans out. And it's exactly what happened. And it actually wasn't, for Jannik, yes, but for most other mere mortals, it wasn't an absolutely easy group, in my opinion. I mean, you've got, the indoor goat in Felix. You've got Zverev, which on his day is the third best. Well, he is the third best player in the world, not just on his day over the last 12 months. And Ben can be a box of tricks, although I did think that this tournament just came a bit too early for him in so many ways. But yeah, Jannik going forward, I mean, he's the favorite for the title, in my opinion. What do you think?
Oh yeah,
but I'm putting him ahead of Carlos in that.
Yeah, I picked him for the title even before the tournament, but he just suits this environment so well and conditions, and it's
27 winners to 14 unforced errors today. It's
he basically gets
very good ratio.
He basically gets a bye to the final now against Demon Armin.
I've just got the head-to-head because I do want to talk about it for a couple of minutes before we end this. 12-0, yeah. And it's also the nature of those wins. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but I can't remember Alex doing much against him. He won a set against him recently, I think.
Yeah, but the last match, was it?
In Beijing. So it was in Beijing, so it wasn't the last one, but the one before, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're right, yeah. The one in Beijing, yeah. So yeah, so the last one indoors.
in Vienna. Yeah. That Australian Open, 3-2-1. I mean, yeah.
That's right.
There's a walkover for De Minaur that doesn't count for him in the head-to-head, of course, but there you go. 2023. I don't even remember this one. Oh, yes. That was when I think Jannik maybe had a late match, really late at night, and there was lots of comments for the next couple of weeks about tennis scheduling that have sort of gone away a little bit. And I think actually maybe even Paris Masters might have done something since then to sort of at least not, if not guarantee it, make it less likely. I think maybe they start a bit early or something. But anyway, that was the one walkover that Alex got. But yeah, in terms of the matchup, I mean, I just don't think there's anything Alex can do to Jannik, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be extremely surprising if something happened. I mean, if he was even to... It's just, as I say, it's just in these conditions, it just suits Jannik's game so well. And that really, I mean, the only person that can stop him is probably Carlos. And then I think Carlos is the underdog a little bit in that matchup on indoors. But yeah, it's just ridiculous, really. I mean,
Indeed. I mean, just a quick sort. I mean, this is sort of a repeating scenario because I think I've done a few previews for Sinner and Demon all over the last 12 months, and every single one, of course, I've predicted Sinner to win, and every single one Sinner has won, and every single preview has been these two guys have basically very similar tennis makeups, but Jannik does absolutely everything better. And if there's one maybe matrix that goes in Alex's favor, it might be speed. But then there's such a big gap in terms of the serving and probably return as well. That's just everything. It's not like, Riley Opelka may well, if they were playing tomorrow in the semi-finals at the ATP Finals, might have a better chance than Alex de Minaur of winning. I think going forward, by the way, I think Felix can narrow the gap. I know it's obviously not. I've seen Felix play Jannik a lot over the last few weeks. And I know Jannik has won all of those matches, but I've seen enough from Felix to say, you know what? He can go 3 sets. A bit like Zverev, Again, Zverev this week, I think, was a bit unlucky in the number of breakpoint opportunities he had. I think it was 7 in all. And he mentioned at his press conference afterwards, he actually didn't feel that bad after the loss because he is actually not far away from Jannik. Alex, on the other hand, is light years away, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what happens now then? It's going to be either, so Felix or Zverev, right? And
yeah, plays Carlos because that's like a quarterfinal, basically. Winner of that qualifies second, and we'll play Carlos in the semis tomorrow.
Do you think it's going to make any difference who Carlos faces?
Probably, yeah. I think Carlos against Felix. Carlos is a warm favorite. Now, people are going to go, John, a week ago in your preview for the tournament, you actually had Felix getting to the final. That is true. But I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised by Carlos's level this week because I saw him lose to Cam Norrie in Paris. I saw him a year ago and other ATP finals just not really producing. But this has been absolutely so far his best level throughout this tournament compared to previous years. And he obviously won Rotterdam this year, but that felt like a long while ago as he was losing. I'm obviously comparing conditions and so forth. But that felt a long way away when he lost that match to Cam recently. So that's why now I'm probably changing my mind. So I do think he's got a bet against Zverev. It's probably 55-45. I've seen Zverev in quick conditions beat Carlos so many times. Their head-to-head is not bad for Sasha. So now I think Carlos is improving it year on year, and I'm not sure Zverev is. In fact, this year you might even say Zverev has gone backwards. But there's absolutely no guarantees that Carlos is beating Zverev. I think against Felix, probably, considering what I've seen so far this week, I think Carlos is probably winning that, but not definitely. What about you?
Yeah, it just depends on... Yeah, I think overall, you would say that Zverev does have a better chance maybe to cause an upset. I mean, especially, I think, at the semi-final stage. But then, of course, if Felix does... catch fire, I guess he's going to be able to keep the score certainly close. So, I mean, perhaps, Felix could catch fire and maybe he actually shocks Carlos.
He can. I just think it's slightly less likely. By the way, Zverev, of course, beat Carlos 2 years ago at this exact event, and right. I know that both players, their trajectories have changed a little since then, but honestly, I like many tennis fans, I guess I probably would like to see an Alcaraz Sinner final because I think that could be fireworks and et cetera, et cetera.
Very like to actually come through and beat Carlos and then Sinner and then go out in the 4th round in Australia or something.
Say that again, sorry?
I said it'd be very Zverev to actually come through and beat Alcaraz and Sinner to win the title here and then lose early
in Australia.
In Australia. I mean, but
yeah. Although I do have a bit more faith in Zverev now compared to say 3 years ago at slams. There was a point, I think he'd never beaten someone in the top 10 at a slam. I remember that was being bandied around at the beginning of 2022.
That was a long time ago, yeah. But
it was beginning of 2022.
Right.
Yeah,
It
and
went
I
on for a
remember that
while.
year he lost to Chapeau, I think, in the 4th round, and I think it might have been straight sets for Chapeau. It was a bizarre loss for Zverev, I think, but that is the last moment, really, I think. Oh, then he got injured, didn't he? Unfortunately, in the semis at the French Open in 22, but he beat Carlos on the way. That set him back 9-10 months. Which, coming back to Rune, by the way, might be a little. So he might come back some point next summer, but it might not be until 2027 that we end up seeing the Rune that we all remember. Might be anyway, but that's another story. All right, Eddie. Big thanks for today.
Pleasure.
And I'll be speaking to you again very soon. And just a quick closure, of course, on this particular stream. Do check out the link below for the Tennis Warehouse Europe link below. Just click on that. Even if you're outside of Europe, it's still applicable, and you can just write your location, etc. And then use the code TALK10. That's capital TALK, and then the number 10. Use that code when you check out because you'll get a discount, I think, on everything except tennis balls. I think it's applicable for. But yeah, get all your tennis goods from that link below and enjoy whatever it is you want, whether it be rackets, shorts, shoes, or dampeners. Do you use a dampener, Eddie?
I do, yeah.
Do you? Okay. I don't, but maybe I should. All right. Okay. Cheers, Eddie. And for everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.